Hi, Sharon.
Hey, Bev.
So, you want to actually just
Turn this way?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Bev.
So, you have just spent the last 9 days with me.
This is our last night in Costa Rica.
And it's just been absolutely amazing. So, I'm going to backpedal here because, first of all, Sharon and I met through Instagram back in 2015.
Yeah.
Ben and I, my husband and I, lived with Sharon and her
Yeah, they came
husband.
live with us for like 2 weeks in Nigeria. And that was during the time when you were like still going around and staying with people and teaching about wellness and stuff.
Living with families as wellness coaches.
So Ben would train us and Bev would cook for us. And it was really cool because it was completely out of our comfort zone. And my chef really learned loads of stuff. And I was just even telling her that there's some stuff like pancakes and homemade lemonade and some other stuff that we still make at home. So, and I've even learned more stuff.
Which has been super awesome.
Yeah.
And we just had a quick catch up this summer. And for some reason,
she just randomly called me. I was like, oh, we should do a Zoom. I was like, okay, sure. And then, she just started talking. I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds really cool what you're doing. And she was like, well, if you can, try and come out to Costa Rica. And I was like, because it was June. I wasn't really planning on traveling. And then an event happened when my aunts had a birthday party in Atlanta. So since I was going to be on that side, I was like, okay, listen, I've got something in September. I might be able to sneak off for 10 days. And that's what we did. We made it happen. And I'm really, really happy that I took some time out, because even by the time I had gotten here, I was so burnt out. I was so tired, with work. I was mentally tired. I was emotionally tired. And I just basically had it up to here, just with life. Not suicidal wise, but, burnout. Burnout is real, And I was burnt out as a mom. I was burnt out as a wife. I was burnt out as a business owner, And I was pretty stressed out, to be honest with you, before I got here. So.
And I saw that in Sharon, and I was like, you need to come down to Costa Rica. And she's like, you know what, I'll think about it. I'll try to see what I can do to make that happen.
Yeah.
And since we had met, I moved from being a wellness coach to now I work as a trauma-informed coach. The work I do right now is more like a therapist.
Yeah.
I don't have a PhD, but I do have training behind me now.
Yeah, and you have your own personal experience as well, which is training in itself.
I do.
Yeah.
So I said, Sharon, if you can make it happen,
Let's
I'd
try.
love for you to come down here. So we rented this amazing villa.
This place has been magical. I can't wait to finish the interview and go jump in the pool in the rain.
Yeah, it's raining right now.
But it's been really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
And we're on day 9. So you were explaining to everyone that you had burnout, that you were really stressed.
Yeah, I was really, really stressed, but I also realized that I was just operating from a really different place. I remember I had just been in Dubai with my husband, and he had asked me that, do I feel like I'm someone that has rage because of the type of outbursts and stuff that was happening specifically at work. I was really short-tempered with my staff. And so just a little background, in Nigeria, most times it's not like the traditional nuclear family. You'll have nannies, you'll have a cook, you'll have a driver, you'll have security. So there's a lot of other people that are in your personal space. And they were getting the brunt of it, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't say that it wasn't that I was justified in my anger. It was just, I was just a bit too angry, if that makes any sense. My responses, and I just felt like every day I was just kind of God help me not to act crazy today, and then I'd get to work and act crazy, basically. You know, and it was just like an ongoing cycle. So by the time I had gotten to Atlanta, even just before I came to Costa Rica, I was really isolating because everything and everyone was pissing me off, basically. I had just, and I think that you can get to that place when you're not dealing with your stuff. Oh, crap. Hold on. You can get to that space when you're not like dealing with your stuff where, you know, there's just only so much that you can handle. There's only so much that you can take. And I felt like, oh, sorry, the light keeps going off. But I felt like really, really tired. I feel like my brain was super duper tired. By the time I got here, I was just kind of like, I was completely on empty. I would say emotionally, physically, mentally. And I still think that I've still got a ways to go, you know. I still think I've got a lot of resting to do and using my energy selectively. But I was really not in a good, I would say I wasn't in a good space when I got here, just because I just been burning the candle on both ends.
Yeah. And
I feel like during the time a lot, and one thing I really liked about this like VIP package, it's almost like you get Vev all the time kind of thing. You have her to yourself anytime you feel like talking about something or something comes to your mind. I feel like it's a good, like, what's the thing when you take a course? It's like a crash course, but it's not crashy, if that makes any sense. It's like, it's a good condensed period of time where you're literally having therapeutic conversations every day. And I think through those conversations, I was able to really make decisions about stuff that I don't know why I didn't consider an option before. You know what I mean? And so I feel like one of the things that Vev really helped me with was to make a lot of decisions that was the true foundation of what was really triggering me.
Like, talk about your food addiction.
So, oh yeah, oh my gosh, don't even get me started. Yeah, I've been a food addict. I've been aware of my food addiction maybe for the last year, but I've been a food addict since I'm 5 years old, since I went to boarding school.
Yeah.
And I think that not having your parent there, apart from like, I think food became my parent, if that makes any sense. It comforted me. When I went to my friends' houses, that's how their parents would show love. They would cook for you. Yeah. You know, also in England, when you're going to boarding school, you have these big trunks. They're called trunks. It's like old school. You don't really see them that much anymore. And so you'd travel with these big trunks, and my mom would just fill it up, you know, with junk food. So, you know, you're stressed out, go to your trunk. You're doing this, go to your trunk. And I really developed really, really bad eating habits in school. In fact, just being here, I didn't even realize I was that picky of an eater, but I actually am. But yeah, I really had serious food addiction, but I didn't know that food was a drug to me. I didn't realize that. So I would try and treat it with extreme behaviors like extreme fasting and then binging. And then even before I got here, I was heavy into like calorie counting, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it made me aware. But I think that if I hadn't come here, I would have been more obsessed with calorie counting. I also feel like I was really thinking about food all the time. And not even necessarily to eat, but it was just such a burden to make sure that you didn't overeat, you know. And I feel being here and being able to talk to Vev about a whole bunch of stuff, you know, not just, I think my interactions with my family, I think childhood trauma. I lost my mom when I'm 15 years old. So I feel like that really affected me.
But you got separated from your parents when you were
Well, this is true, because I've been in boarding school since 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I really had such abandonment issues and anger about it. I mean, I knew that I had a short temper, right? But I really identified that I was so angry until we talked about it for a while.
Yeah, because in the summer when I spoke to you and I was like, I need to know more about your parents' history.
Right.
And you opened up a little bit, and I was like, oh, when you come down, we're
gonna get into it. So, and one thing I will say, and I'm not even just saying it because you're here, I don't think that Vivian is pushy about information, because that would have really irritated me, to be honest with you. I just feel like she kind of gives you the space to bring stuff, because I might bring something up on Monday and not talk about it again till Friday,
Right.
because I'm kind of like trying to process it,
Yeah.
you know. So I definitely felt abandoned for sure. I also, you know, had interactions where I lived with other people and they kind of controlled the food a lot, you know, locking kitchens and just weird things that I feel like made me had weird issues with food. Sugar being one of my major things that I would always, a major addiction, you know. And I mean, I don't know how you did it, but through the conversations, through talking, through really kind of releasing a lot of things, I just feel like I've had such control over food since I've been here. And we both realized I don't actually eat that much.
There you go.
Like, I'm not even I feel like you've been around people enough to kind of know the greedy
Absolutely.
ones.
Yes.
You know people, okay, this is why you're fat.
Absolutely.
And
I knew that your food addiction had nothing to do with like the adult version of you.
Right.
Because you know what healthy was healthy and was
Right.
not healthy. It was the childhood trauma that we were really trying to tackle.
And honestly,
Looking at it from the inside
out. I've
instead of-
never Vivian start like, listen guys, I've been in therapy for almost 3 years, and I've not been able to accomplish what I've accomplished in 10 days in the last 3 years. That doesn't mean I'm stopping therapy. I have a session on Monday. You know what I'm saying? It just made me realize that there are other avenues, there are other ways that, you know, you can help yourself. And, you know, I'm really proud of the progress, because when I knew that we had some breakthroughs, we've had a couple of hiccups during our adventure days, because what we did is, and one thing I love about Vivian's program, you can customize how you want it. So it was still a vacation. I still explored Costa Rica a little bit based on my energy levels. We still went hiking. We still worked out if I felt like it. We did a whole bunch of stuff, but we rested in between. So on our adventures days, something would always go left. And I kid you not, like, old me, 10 days ago me, would have hit the roof. And I'm here telling Vivian to calm down, like, girl, it's fine. And I think that I just kind of have been able to, in dealing with my trauma, I really feel like I just see life differently right now. And my priorities have really changed. And in the bigger picture of things, if we don't go today, we can go tomorrow. And if we don't go this trip, we can go next trip. Like, because I'm definitely coming back to Costa Rica. But I definitely see a change in my anger. And even when we were here, we had a few things that family members did to trigger me.
Yes.
And I remember the first day, all I just kept on saying was like, I am really pissed off about this thing. You know, I might not have been shouting, but that's how things used to really affect me. And it was quite traumatizing to realize that I've been operating from this place for 35 years.
Wow.
That's crazy to me.
This place of rage and just
Yeah, because it's so draining. Like, even after I think our first or second session, what did I keep on saying? That I feel like I'm really tired.
Yes.
I just feel really tired.
Really tired.
And she was saying that she feels like I dropped a lot of mental weight.
Yeah, because your nervous system was overacting.
Bro!
It was just like so
My
much
nervous
was going
system
on,
was-
and it was because you were exhausted.
My nervous system was done. I was
saying
done.
A lot the second day.
Yeah.
That
I
was
was
huge.
really, the second day I was so triggered, you know, I was so bothered. I talked about this whole thing for like 2 days,
Yes,
and I
yes.
was so triggered by somebody else's issue, you know. And I think what Vev has also helped me to do is set emotional boundaries, that I didn't know I had the power to do that. I almost had this rescue everyone mentality. And I realized that I have an inner child that's not done being rescued, kind of thing. And I never considered looking at my inner child. It was not irrelevant. I didn't even understand. But by the time I finished dealing with myself, all of a sudden, I'm able to look at somebody else and just say, have they dealt with their inner child? And if they haven't, I can then understand how to approach them, which then leads to another place of empathy. So I definitely have empathy for my parents. You know, I've made steps to find out a little bit more about my mom. I realized that I realized that I had suppressed.
You have really suppressed so much memories from
Yeah.
your mom.
My mom, my mom's mom, my mom's side of the family.
Which was so crazy.
That's crazy to me that I've never, I never even really thought about my mom's mom, my grandma. And I just thought, why has that been? Because I feel like I've just been so heavily on my dad's side of the family.
Because your mom died when you were 15.
My mom died when I was 15. My mom only has one sister, and she was living, she's working, she's living in the States. So I'm close with my immediate cousins, but there's a bigger family and there's more history. And for example, one of my suppressed issues was mom issues and rage issues. And one of the things that Vivian suggested was, well, why don't you find out about her? Doing some investigation and just finding out. And since I've been here, I've reached out to a few people that I know people. So I've already started that journey of figuring it out. And I'm really happy about it. But more importantly, what I don't know, I'm not trying to control. But what does bother me, I'm coming from a place of empathy. I don't think that there's anything that my mom or my parents did that was conscious.
Right.
I don't think it was malicious. I know you have clients that have suffered and it was really malicious. And I also think that my case is a little bit different because coming from an affluent background and an African culture, people put so much value on money, and they just feel like if you come from money, you don't have problems, you don't have a right to have problems,
which is crazy.
Which is really crazy. But what Bev has also taught me is you need to be autonomous in your advocacy. You need to advocate for yourself. You need to advocate for that inner child. So while you might have these feelings, you're an adult now, and these are the things. And speaking of advocacy, one of the major things that we came to the conclusion of is, yes, you do live a privileged life. Yes, you do have a business. But if business is slowing down because of the economy, getting a job is okay. And for you guys to say, for some people that might be like, oh, why are you getting a job? Well, my dad has a multi-billion-dollar business that no one doesn't understand why I'm not working at, right? You get money because you're a trust fund baby. Let's just call the spade a spade. You have an allowance, and the allowance is pretty cool. You can kind of live off of it. But now I'm getting to a different stage. I have 3 kids in private school in America. I have multiple houses, and I also have goals for my business. I want to grow my social media business, I want to grow my fashion business, and I want to grow my beauty business. And all of that requires extra money. And I think that there was a low-key entitlement, inside of me, if I'm going to keep it real, where I just kind of felt like, well, why don't I just get more? And then Dev's like, yeah, but nobody owes you anything, kind of thing. So it is a bit of tough love, guys. It is a bit of tough love. But if you want to change, I feel like you can definitely. And what I'll say is, Dev is not telling me what to do. She's just making suggestions that make sense. You know what I mean? And actually, I came to the job thing by myself.
You did.
You just supported me.
So supportive.
I've never had that support. I've always been told, what happened today? When I texted one of my friends and I said, hey, I'm looking for a job, and she started laughing at me, and I was completely triggered, that, oh, why are you working? And that's the response that I've gotten all my life. I'm 35 years old, straight from college. I went to work with my dad, then I worked by myself. So I don't actually have any work experience, and some of the stuff that we're doing, because I'm gonna keep up with a monthly call for the rest of the year, because we're doing it's a continuous journey. It's not, I don't want anyone to think that it's a 10-day fix it. You have to understand that I've come to VEB with 3 years of awareness, 3 years of therapy. So I feel like my learning was quicker than maybe the average person, because I have been doing the work.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important for people to know that if you've not seen anybody, and if you've not had this conversation with anybody, don't say that, oh, because Sharon came and in 10 days it worked for her. No, this is 10 days of just helping me solidify things that I've already been dancing around with. You know what I mean?
And become more curious about your entire life.
Yes.
And not just look at it. I feel like you were looking at it through
Singularly.
a very narrow lens, and
Yes.
I kind of broadened the horizon.
100%. And I think that you guys need to understand the importance of having someone that can give you a bit of perspective about things. And I think that's one of the major things that I'm walking away with, one of the major gifts that I'm walking away with. Because even with this situation that happened with my friend, Vivian really talked me through options of responding. Because I said, Viv, I don't want to be angry. I don't want her to think I'm mad at her, but I'm also feeling hurt by the statement, you know. And what I said to her was, what I said to Viv was, I understand why she might feel that way, and Bev said, well, why don't you just say that? And that's what I love about this trauma training, that's what I'm gonna call it, is it teaches you not to be a victim. Because it would have been so easy for me to get in my feelings and not say anything.
Absolutely.
And in responding to that, I said to my friend, I understand why you might feel that way, but that's not actually the case. You know, business has been kind of slow. And because she is my friend, I feel like I can give her further context, you know. And then she was now more apologetic because she realized how serious I was. And the funny thing was, my friend's husband was getting into what I was even asking her for. So I even feel like on a spiritual level, God has really made me strategically ask, you know, things. So what I'll say is one of the reasons that I feel more peaceful, I feel like Vev helped me come up with a plan. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes just saying the good words is just not enough. My personality needs a plan. I don't want to just dwell in this space, you know. So some of the major things I've done in this 10 days, I needed to register my business in America, which I did. And that will be ready on Monday, which is awesome because we talked about it. I'm going to set up my Amazon business. So even though I'm getting a job, I'm still going to diversify what I can do for the business by myself, which is a game changer for me. You know, because living in Nigeria, we don't make money in dollars. The exchange rate's really bad right now on that side, and obviously inflation on this side. So having different sources of income and means of income, I really have enjoyed having that conversation of practical things. You know, I understand meditation and all that, which is good. But I feel like one of the things that you're really good at, Vev, is being really practical.
It's so important.
It's so important because I feel like a lot of these
It's very woo-woo.
woo-woo, whoop-de-woo kind of bullshit. Sorry, I just can't,
No, I get
you know,
it.
and that would have really annoyed me. So I was able to register for that. I have a meeting on Thursday with someone who's helped me with my resume.
Amazing.
I have a meeting on Monday with an agency that's gonna show me different remote jobs. So guess what, guys? It might take me 6 months to get there, but at least the process has started. And just the acts of doing these things, I'm really feeling better. You know, because I feel like if I can get my own income, you know, and then we also talked about identity, didn't we? Like how people view me and the assumptions that are made, and learning how to set really nice boundaries from a place of love.
Yes.
Not a place of anger, not a bitch place, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you're so angry inside, you don't know how to be anything but that, you know? And Bev was just letting me understand, if they've not done the work,
It's just not gonna work out.
it's not gonna work out. So I don't need to worry about what anyone else is doing. I just need to understand where this person is operating from concerning me, and make a decision that's not going to be detrimental to myself. And that has been mind-blowing for me. Mind-blowing. Even with my workers, like I was dealing with my video editor on the commercial I showed you, and he kept on making the same mistake. And normally I would have ripped him to shreds, and I just gave him a call and said, hey, are we having a communication issue? Is there something that I'm saying that's not clear? I didn't feel so offended. And I was really interested in understanding where he was coming from. And I think that that's basically one of the major things that you've taught me this week is, you know, to kind of understand where somebody else is coming from, so that you can decide how you're going to position yourself. And being, as I talked about, a lot of toxic family shit or whatever, it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary for survival. Sorry, go ahead.
One of my intentions for you in the very beginning I mentioned was for you just to realize how simple life can be.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. Bev takes simplicity to like new heights. Like, bruh, first of all, food-wise, I don't even eat that much. I really don't even eat that much. Our food was really simple to, you know, everything Bev does is like 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes, but like 5 minutes prep, put it that way. And she did most of my meals. I think I only cooked once. And that's something I really like. Bev looks after you when you come here. She didn't make me wash dishes. I hate washing dishes. But you
also
know,
appreciating the small things. I remember
very.
yesterday in the pool, you were like, "I've never appreciated the rain."
I've never appreciated the rain. I never appreciated the little balls that the rain makes on top. I noticed little like insects and stuff, like in a nice nature way. And I really feel like the nature and the simple surroundings was very healing for me.
Because you're so not a nature person.
I'm
So the
so
fact
not.
that I
I'm
got
so
her into
metropolitan. I'm so in the city kind of girl. But I'm now starting to realize I need to separate myself.
Yeah.
For sure. I need to take some time out, breathe, and I need to separate myself 100% and not be involved in everything. And I think that simplicity really does come down to money too. Yesterday we watched this documentary, How to Manage Your Money, and I learned so many things about what I'm gonna do and how I'm going to, especially when that surplus of my job money starts, when I start getting paid a salary. You know, I'm not in any rush to splurge. I'm looking at how to invest and how to save and just how to kind of get my own identity outside of my family money. Also,
because even though your dad has money, you were never taught how to manage money.
100%. It's really scary, actually. How many people in my circle are like that, and you know, even in my friend groups, because some people I'm just like, I know I have more money than you, and you guys are doing all kinds of things. And you know, what I realize is I need to manage what I have, and I need to manage it well. One of the major things that I'm going to be doing is decluttering when I get home. I feel like I think one of my major triggers was overbuying.
Yes.
And I think that I learned that from my mom, and also being in boarding school and also living in Nigeria, because things are not so easily available. Yes. Like even right now, my Amazon cart went from like 4,000 to like 700.
Wow.
Because I picked what I needed.
Right. Wow.
And I'm still trying to purge it down to 500 to see. So instead of buying 10 lip balms, I bought 2. You know what I'm saying?
What did you say yesterday, the message you got?
Oh yeah, so this whole week I've been looking for tweezers. And then I got a message and God was like, go and check your bag. You already have tweezers in your bag. So I went in and lo and behold, some tweezers were there. And the message I got was, stop trying to buy things you already have. Stop looking for things you already have. And I took that spiritually as well as physically. So, you know, you feel like you need a new pair of jeans, you have 5 million, right? You literally do. I literally have way too much stuff that I don't even wear. And then also, I feel like even with the job thing, don't necessarily feel like you have to pay someone to do something for you. There are so many things that I can learn. And I think that because I've gotten so used to paying for stuff or paying people to do stuff for me, it almost kind of made me a little bit immobile. It made me a little bit handicapped in my brain. And one of the major things that I realized is that I'm gonna have to face my fears big time, because I can actually do a lot of things that I didn't know. I didn't realize that I could do it. And there's so many things that Vivian made me do that's out of my comfort zone. She made me go in this rainforest, and you know, black people don't do all this shit. She is crazy. She made me do that. We did paragliding, which was good. It wasn't a major affair. Yeah, we got a little seasick, so we had to turn around. It was crazy. I hitchhiked, oh my Lord.
Yeah, That
Our car broke
was
down.
not even planned.
It wasn't. No, remember the day before? I was like, I am never
You're
hitchhiking,
like, yeah, exactly.
and we're not picking up a hitchhiker. And then we needed one the next day. So
Because our car broke down, and yeah, we needed to hitchhike. And
yeah,
it happened so quickly. Like somebody came.
everything happened so quickly. There was somebody that really helped us, and I think that that's another big sign for me. Wherever I'm going, God is gonna make sure that there's more. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, it says, and God will grant you with marvelous help. Not just help, marvelous help, you know. And I'm seeing that every time that I put a proper intention out there, and I'm more practical about it, and I kind of get my head around it. Because at the beginning of the week, it was not in my mind to get a job. I danced around with it, but Vivian saying, I think that's a good idea. And I was just thinking, thank you for not telling me I shouldn't, you know what I mean? So one thing I will say for people who are going to join and come to this program, it's not like all these Costa Rican retreats and what do you call it?
Shamans?
Shaman. It's not like a shaman thing, even though, I mean, I guess she has shaman qualities, but I feel like it's so practical and it's so custom to you. So for me, this is what I needed. For you, she would know where, to start. So I'm honestly leaving super excited. It's so funny. Even like I had one of my friends jump on a call, and hopefully she's gonna become one of Vev's clients. But I think that Vev and I met 6 years ago for a time such as this, because I was on my last leg emotionally. I was not going to die, but I would have definitely probably been a bit bitter. You know, I started to see that seep in a little bit. And then I also have examples in my family of bitterness. And I really,
very strong examples.
Yeah, I really don't want to go down that road. And and guess what, guys? If I don't do the work, it can come. So I don't think Vev has never promoted a quick fix. She's never promoted that. Everything is process.
Yeah. And the integration work when she goes back home is going to be like the most important stuff. Because we did so much work in these 9 days that when you go home, now you're in your real setting. Yeah. Now you can actually be you.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're going to take everything that you learned back home and see how you function.
Definitely. I can't believe that. I think we normally have fruit in the morning. I think every now and then she makes me pancakes that I really like. But I'm not a glutton.
No.
I'm not obsessed with food. Food was my tool that I used to comfort. And it's not even starvation, you guys. I'm legit not hungry. I legit don't have an appetite, and I stopped eating. Like, we had chef come in today. It was almost like a taster's menu.
Yeah.
And by the time the last meal was done, I took a couple of bites for the camera, and I was like, Vev, I think I'm gonna have to take this home. And then also, Vev has taught me not, like, even with the way I'm gonna food shop, it's gonna change.
It has to change.
It's gonna change, because I used to buy for the month. I would bulk buy, and that would take a hit on my budget. It would force feed us because we'd feel like we had to eat the food so it doesn't spoil.
So we covered. I got to
we
know
covered
Sharon.
finances.
We covered finances.
Food.
We got to know Sharon from even before she was born. I got to know both of her parents and their childhood, and then from that, what happened between her mom having Sharon and where Sharon is now, and even before Sharon came into the world, who her mom was as a child, who her dad was as a child.
Yeah.
I needed to learn all of that to bring Sharon
and all these
to where
things
she is
came
right now.
to my memory quite slowly, but quite intentionally, because she might say something to me and I'll say I don't know, and then maybe I'll dream and think, oh my gosh, I forgot about this.
Right.
Like, one of the major breakthroughs we had was my mom's mom died when she was 5, and my dad was sent away to live in another part of town, like not town, like another state. So let's just say Florida to New York, something, or even LA to Atlanta, something far. So it made me kind of understand why them sending me away wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But that was not something. That was something that It was you know how you can like know fun facts,
Yeah.
but it just never applied to you in that way. So I really feel like
I also don't think you had any time to really think about your history, and you didn't even recognize that your history had to do with your
100%, 100%.
I was like, no. For my training, all addiction is from childhood trauma. So and I was like, we need to go down the rabbit hole of your dad, your mom,
everything.
Everything is gonna bring you to where you are right now.
And also, I think she did definitely, because I did the pre-calls. We did 2 pre-calls before
you came down here.
I came down here. So Vev does prepare you about what she's gonna expect from you and what you're gonna discuss. And it was great. It was great to know that, you know.
We dealt with the trauma, the food addiction, the simplicity. You're gonna go back home, you're
keeping
clean,
simple, cleaning out. We talked about budgets too.
And you're also going to be such a good mom.
I'm excited.
We've talked about so many
We've
different
talked
things.
about my relationship with my kids. We've talked about how I'm going to schedule myself, even sleep. You know, one of the things that Bev really did encourage. Anyway, as I said to you before, this drainage, like you will feel drained, guys, if you're doing the work properly.
Yeah.
We would go to bed like 6:37.
Yes.
Most times we're in bed by 8 o'clock is late for us.
Yes.
And usually by 6 o'clock we're up again. So, I mean, I only did one workout with Bev on one independent workout, but we were active during the day. I did swim a lot. But also, I was happy that I had empathy for myself. I think that sometimes I'm just like, oh, you have to. Even my husband, you know, he was asking, oh, do I think I've lost weight and stuff like that. And in time, I'm going to also let him know that I don't want to address it that way. You know, I want us to focus on me just being healthy as a person.
That's how it should be. I think people need to take the whole
weight loss thing,
yeah.
I was naked like all the time. Oh my God, I was always naked. And so I definitely feel like I have a lot of body confidence now and also body acceptance because it's gonna be a journey. I've still got about 40 pounds that needs to come off, but there's no way that if I continue down this path of healthy eating and mindful eating and not eating from a place of trauma. So one of the tools that Bev taught me is if you do find yourself binge eating, if you do find yourself going back there, you need to pause. You need to ask your inner child what is wrong,
Right.
what is triggering you. And I love that tool because it doesn't have to be food, it could be anything. And it's also an acknowledgement that those feelings will come back again.
Yes, absolutely.
They will keep on trying themselves because they've had so much power over you for such a long time. Well, me anyway, but for such a long time. I have to be kind of prepared for it. And so when it does come, I have the support. I can book a session with Bev and say, hey, listen, girl, I've started again. I can also just use the tools and talk to myself.
And be compassionate.
Compassionate. I feel like I have not been compassionate to myself because I wasn't taught that. And because I didn't experience it, you know,
it's an option for you.
Yeah, compassion was an option, but now it's on the table to be kind to myself. And then also, I find that it has made me more compassionate to other people. I don't even understand, you know, it's made me more.
Because we weren't looking at them at who they are now. We went back to their childhood.
And every single person I had a problem with, I don't have a problem with them anymore, because number one. That doesn't mean that you're welcome back and you have a first class, you know, seat in my life.
Right.
But it's just for me to be able to understand where you're operating from and feel sorry for you.
Exactly.
You know, not from a I'm better than you place, but just from a I understand where you're operating from. I'm sorry that you're operating from that place, and I hope that you figure it out. But in the meantime, this inner child needs protecting. You know, and I love it because I'm teaching myself to protect myself, and then I have the tools to go and teach my children how to look after themselves. And by God's grace, they won't have childhood trauma past anything that I may have done or caused.
Because the best gift you can give your kids is to work on yourself.
Is to be a healthy me.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, when I was coming, they're like, how are you going to leave for 10 days? What's, you know, this? And I'm just thinking, 10 days is nothing for what it is that I'm trying to do. Right. If I was still in Nigeria right now or back home, I would be really angry right now. and I'll be really, really tired right now. And to be honest with you guys, I'm still tired. I think that I might be tired for the rest of the year because I've just let a lot of emotional weight go. Even in the mirror, I see myself differently. And you were saying that I've lost emotional weight.
Yeah,
you know, so that
definitely.
my eyes are a bit clearer.
Definitely.
I'm a lot more calmer under pressure. I can't even believe it, you know.
She's so chill. It's ridiculous.
Super chill, and I'm not even a chill person, like, ever. You know, but I feel like that people pleaser inner child, need to please, need to perform, is she's not, I don't need to do that anymore. You know, I think that I understand what's going on, kind of thing. And I think that what this program does is kind of puts a mirror up in front of you and helps you to see things differently. But I can also see, to be honest with you, how it might not work for someone if they're not ready to be open.
No, because this is not woo-woo. This is literally diving deep into your whole life, your whole existence.
Yeah.
And if you're here for a quick fix, this is not for you.
This is not the program for you. And another thing that I really have understood is I have kind of clarity of my life direction. I truly understand my purpose better. I understand myself deeper. I think that I understand I understand why people are attracted to me. And I think that at one point I always thought it was kind of money. But it's actually not. There's so much deeper than that. And even being here, there's been a lot of people that I've had to have phone conversations with and be able to be there for them. So I feel like I'm leaving as a better wife. I feel like I'm leaving as a better mother. And I feel like I'm also leaving as a better friend and an employer.
Sure.
You know, because emotional intelligence, of really understanding myself, of really digging deep, has come into play, and I'm so grateful. I'm really happy that you randomly reached out to me. And I don't think anything's random. I don't think that she came to Nigeria randomly. I don't think that we had that Zoom just a few months randomly.
No.
You know, but listen, I definitely would encourage you to work with Vev during the Zooms. But if you can afford it, because she's not cheap and she can't be cheap, because it's worth every penny. You know, if you can make that sacrifice for yourself and invest in yourself, even if it's 5 days, I still think that you can get a lot of work done. But I think the reason Vev encourages 10 to 2 weeks is because she understands how draining it is. And you would need to rest in between.
So
you know, it's a lot. So yeah, that's really, I'm really happy. I'm really happy because I'm not that, even though I'm uncertain, I don't know I can't predict the future. I just know that it's going to be okay. And when it's not, I have the tools how to manage myself. I think one of the major things I was telling you yesterday was that I learned how to soothe myself.
Yeah.
It's never something that I've experienced before. I feel like I've always depending on other people to do that for me. And the weird thing is, growing up, there wasn't much of that. So me expecting other people to do it for me is crazy to me.
Yes.
When no one ever did it in the first place, you know, or had the tools to do it in a way that was comforting to me. And now that I can do it for myself, you know, and calm myself down. Yesterday I was just sitting there, I was just lying down and I was just kind of rubbing my head and I just fell asleep. I was so comforted by myself, you know. And I love it because I feel like I said in the past that I'd taken everyone off the hook, but I feel like I really have now. And I feel like I've gotten the tools to advocate for myself and talk to people. And when someone does something that doesn't work for me, instead of attacking them, just kind of educating them that, oh, that's not how I, you know, roll now, or that's not how, like, even one of the things I was thinking about is when I do reach my goal weight and someone says, oh, you've lost so much weight or you've done this, it's one of the major things I'm going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that I really don't let people comment on my weight. You know, I know you mean it as a compliment, so, you know, maybe you look good or whatever works, but the problem is, as a recovering food addict, as a recovering exercise bulimic, these are very triggering words for me, and it just makes me, if I was slim, it would make me feel pressure to stay slim. And if I was not slim, it would make me feel bad that I wasn't slim. So I don't allow people to comment on my weight. End of discussion.
I like that.
Because I just know myself now. You know, and I think that before I just used to kind of let things happen to me. I would be upset about it, but I didn't know how to handle that. And I played back a couple of scenarios. I remember there was a lady who had come up to me and said, oh, you look much fatter than you do on, you know, on Instagram. And then her daughters were saying, oh, well, you look good for having 3 kids. And I wish at that time, I said, oh, I'm so sorry, Ma, I don't know you, but I don't allow people to talk about my weight. And I don't need you guys to tell me I look good for having 3 kids. If you want to say I look nice, that's nice, but commenting on my weight is a very big trigger for me, and it makes me feel bad about myself. And I think that it's important for you to stand up and say that to people and put them in their place, basically. Especially in my Nigerian culture, you gotta check people. Like, it's always saying you've added weight or you've lost weight is not a greeting. They do it all the time, but guess what? Because it was done to me so much, I mentally was doing it to people. I was tracking people's weight. I was tracking their gains and their losses because it was happening to me. And I didn't even know I was doing it, you know? So, yeah.
So that's that. Here we are. Sorry about the bad lighting. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Bev. You're doing really, really, really life-changing work for people.
It's been unbelievable.
It's been so good.
So
good.
So freaking good, guys.
We've had such a great time.
Incredible.
And you know, we're planning on linking up again soon, probably with the next year with the kids and stuff as well.
Yeah, so let's see where this will take us.
So yeah, we're just gonna keep this ball rolling. As I said, I would recommend, and I'm not trying to say it to sell. I just feel like to go through this experience and then just not talk to her again might not really be a good idea. I feel like you kind of need to follow up because it's different when you're out here by yourself. We're in a disclosed location, it's perfect, the environment. When you get back into the reality of things, that's when you really know. You know, so I would definitely be interested to do like maybe like a 6-month or 1-year follow-up interview
that'd be great.
to see what's going on since then. I really know that if I apply the changes that we've discussed, I definitely feel that my life will be a lot more balanced. And that's what I've been really looking for, that spiritual, balanced place.
So great,
Yeah.
so great. So my heart is so full right now. All right, thank you for listening to this
Thanks,
interview.
guys.
Until next time. Bye.